AWS Presents Tech Pioneers in association with CNBC-TV18.com.
AWS presents Tech Pioneers in association with CNBC-TV18.com. And we are discussing pushing the boundaries of new possibilities with generative AI. Now, Gen AI is poised for a very significant growth, and India is at the forefront of this growth and innovation trajectory. Now, by some estimates, Gen AI could drive a 7% to almost $7 trillion uplift in the global GDP by significantly improving productivity in the next 10 years. One of the most promising areas we see this play out is healthcare and life sciences. Gen AI use cases are accelerating drug discovery and research. Generative AI can create novel protein sequences with specific properties for designing gene therapy, antibodies, vaccines, enzymes. Gen AI tools also can create synthetic patient and healthcare data, and this data can be useful for training AI models, simulating clinical trials, or studying rare diseases where we may not have access to large real-world data sets. A huge amount of meaningful difference is getting made. Today, a number of solution providers are deeply looking at their offerings and actively building Gen AI capabilities to unlock innovation, productivity, and build comparative advantage. Indegene is one such company, which is a digital-first life sciences commercialization company. Indegene helps biopharmaceutical, emerging biotech, and medical device companies develop products, get them to the market, and grow their impact through the life cycle in a much more effective, efficient, and modern way. And on that note, we have with us today Manish Gupta, Chairman and CEO at Indegene. He's a first-generation entrepreneur who's taken his company public. Manish holds a BTech from IIT and is an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. Manish has got 22 years of experience in technology-led healthcare solutions sector, and he's been doing fantastically well. Welcome, Manish.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's great to host you in this talk series, Manish.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
So, Manish, in your introduction, I talked about you being a first-generation entrepreneur. So how did this happen? And there's also this case of 5 founders coming together. It's been now 25 plus years and sticking together for that common vision. So let's start with that. How did you get this entrepreneurial spirit and the 5 founders coming together?
So as far as the entrepreneurial spirit, first generation entrepreneur, probably to start with, after some quick stints in the corporate world, personally realized I'm a misfit in the corporate world. There was always this itch to do something different. That led me to start figuring out what else could I do on my own. And there's a very strong desire to do something which is different, right? Build a differentiated company in a space, not be one more IT services or BPO or even a pharmaceutical company, right? Create something which is unique, distinctive, and could be known at a global scale. That led me to find people and co-travelers in this journey who could come along and create this company, right? And that leads to the second part of your question of us staying together. That's very unique and that's very special, something which we take a lot of pride in. And I would say that one of the big reasons for that is that all the co-founders, and I would now extend it beyond the co-founders and say the executive team and a large portion of the team, everyone is seriously committed to building a differentiated institution that is going to outlast each one of us, right? That's a very strong desire and aspiration everybody holds, and it's very dear to everyone. Interestingly, as far as the founders are concerned, in one of the OD interventions we had done very recently, a couple of years back, we realized that all of us have very different propensities, right? Different people, different personalities. But the interesting thing also was that the value systems were very aligned, right? So while we were very different personalities, these differences didn't come in the way of our working, but rather became a way for us to leverage each other's strengths and weaknesses, right? I would leverage one of my co-founders knowing very well that he's better at this than doing me, right? And vice versa. And that journey played out very well for us till now. So I would say that's combination of the shared aspiration and being very different people which could be leveraged helped us to stay together.
Amazing to hear, and wishing you and five founders many, many decades together and growth, of course. Um, you went public. I know a lot of preparation goes before you go public, and once you go public, there's much more rigor, intensity. Talk to us about that. Talk about what was life before going public, the prep, and how has life changed after that.
So it's interesting you asked that. I've been asking this question. I have these regular lunches with different teams. But yesterday I had this lunch with my finance and legal team, which is the one which gets most affected, right? And the answers have been very interesting. Let me start with myself, right? Of course, there's a lot of preparation which went in going public. The documentation, meeting hundreds of investors across the world, right? Crisscrossing the globe. That's a lot of work, right, in preparation. But subsequent to that, you obviously have every quarter more meetings, right? There's external stakeholders have increased, and we are still in the early days. So few of us that's got added as extra work. But beyond that, it's interesting when I asked this team, saying actually not much, right? We were anyway operating as a listed company, right? Those rhythms of and discipline of revenue, profitability, all the metrics was there for a very long period of time, right? And we had a professional board, right? So to that extent, that rhythm was always in place. Some bit of more filings and all that have got added, right? Which is the only thing, and we still stay committed to our long-term vision of creating something truly unique out of India.
I know for sure that Indegene is built on a very strong set of foundations, fundamentals. So again, I'm sure the future is great. Shifting gears to a little bit of a macro side here, Manish. So, look, I mean, last 1-2 years, we all know. I think these are not necessarily the best of times from a IT industry perspective, and you don't necessarily, you are in the intersection of health and tech. So I'll say, but from a very pure play IT services industry, there are challenges, but then opportunities are also sort of nearby. There were some headwinds. For example, the American elections were not done till a month ago. EU was not done. The Fed had a certain stance. I think most of them, I think we have crossed over. So some bit of positivity is there in the market. There's still mixed sort of reviews coming from different analysts, gurus, super. What do you think from a very pharma industry view? Give us a little bit of a perspective of how is the healthcare, pharma, life sciences industry looking at it? How are you looking at this from a, let's say, 12-month, 18-month kind of a view?
Sure. So if I take a 12, 18-month view, see, the pharma industry and healthcare industry is a very interesting industry, right? It's of course super important to humanity, right? So many of our parameters of life expectancy, quality of life, which have improved over the last few decades, I would say that our industry has contributed a significant portion to that. But this is an industry which is always under continuous pressure because there are two contrarian pulls, right? On one hand, you've got to innovate, right? You've got to improve quality, right? That needs to always happen in this industry. There are always unmet medical needs. You've got to improve the quality. On the other hand, in the overall healthcare industry, which plays for pharma as well, right? There is always this problem of access, right? Access, affordability, and hence pressures on pricing, right? And there's always the cost of innovation. So those pulls and pressures always exist and have been existing, right? In some cases it becomes more, in some cases it becomes slightly lesser, but nevertheless pressure remains. What we at Indegene have been excited about and are more excited about, that one way to deal with this is reimagining how you bring drugs to the market, right? Even think about drugs in the lab using technology, right? And that's where Gen AI becomes a really great opportunity for the industry. We believe the industry is going to adopt that in a very significant way over time. Now, I'm not sure about the 12, 18-month period, but if I take a slightly long-term view, it's going to adopt that. If I just take a 12, 18-month view, this is an industry which depends a lot on new launches, right, and patent expiries. The net of this determines growth, and the industry is slated for a lot of launches in the next few years, right? While there are a bunch of patent expiries also, but the net result is positive, and the industry is poised to grow at healthy rates between 25 to 28.
So Manish, healthcare, life sciences is a highly competitive industry, growing at a decent, good growth rate as you mentioned. How does Indegene plans to differentiate itself in such an industry where there's so much of competition and so much of excellence all around? What's your vision, which you believe will keep you relevant and winning for the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Sure. So that's a great question, Amit. And I would say that Indegene was founded, or let me take a step back. Indegene is a truly unique company, right? When we started the company, the whole thesis was that if we bring deep healthcare expertise, medical expertise, together with technology expertise, we can solve various problems in the healthcare industry, right? Now, if you think about our team today, we have north of 5,000 people, and 22% of these are medical doctors, PhDs, pharmacologists, coming from a medical or hardcore healthcare background, right? These people are on one hand working with data scientists, data engineers, analytics professionals, software engineers. On the other hand, with people who are medical or digital strategists, omni-channel orchestrators, creative folks, art directors, right? So a very diverse set of people coming together to craft solutions and domain-specific solutions for the industry. That's a very special DNA. Now, as Indegene, we had at some scale and long time back, right, we had taken a strong view that we will continue to differentiate ourselves on two things. One is deep domain expertise. We continue to invest in that, right? And domain expertise is just not having X number of doctors or pharmacologists. It's having deep expertise in relevant therapy areas, market access pricing capabilities, right? Regulatory experience, expertise in different markets. I can go on and on, right? It gets very nuanced. What we also had decided is that we will not only build this domain expertise, we will invest in building tools, technologies, platforms which encapsulate this domain expertise, right? And can be used in our operations or directly by our clients to deliver what we call 10x impact, right? In how some of the core processes are run. We've been making those investments. We invest a significant portion of our revenues in R&D, right? Building these tools and platforms. Using these two things, we've been able to acquire clients. We work with all the top 20 global pharma companies. We've been working with them for a long period of time, and we learned with them. All that learning has again got back into strengthening our domain expertise as well as these tech platforms which encapsulate this domain expertise. We believe that's our flywheel, right, which will continue to drive momentum for us in the future as well.
Yeah. A good takeaway for me. You talked about building great set of talent capability, domain capability, deep and diverse.
Yeah.
So there was one part you talked about, and nicely you talked about how do you also invest into the tools, technology, the platform, the accelerators.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which can
that's a very good way to put it.
Move that 10x for your customer to realize value faster.
Yeah.
I think a great flywheel indeed. And I think, I mean, so true. If I actually think that the next wave of cloud is also about this intersection which you talked about between tech and healthcare, and a lot of solution providers coming at the forefront and solving a lot of complex problems which the industry has. And it could be in automotive, it could be in energy, it could be in financial services, healthcare, as you are in the forefront of solving it. So I think great answers. I'm sure our viewers would love it, coming straight from you. I cannot have this interview without generative AI
Absolutely.
conversation. Given that Gen AI is sort of, the industry is looking at Gen AI healthcare, as sort of a key development in terms of enhancing ability of solving problem for various customers, right? How do you see that from uh, from a from an industry perspective, right? Do you think it will have massive impact on healthcare? And here I'm talking about next, not a long horizon, because I think we all know it will, hopefully, but maybe in the next 2 years, 3 years, do you see it really causing a lot of positive progress?
So I would say that Gen AI is already playing a role, right? Now in our industry, here is what happens. That this is the industry which is obviously innovates, right? All these new drugs come in because of pharma industry innovating, right? But this is the industry which also gets super conservative after the product has left the lab, right? All the processes which a company like Indegene impacts, clinical trials, regulatory affairs, right? Medical affairs, drug safety, sales and marketing. Given the regulatory nature of the industry and the fact that you're dealing with human lives, industry gets conservative, right? Now, we already are seeing a lot of use of Gen AI-based solutions in R&D, right? Discovery. You spoke about proteins, right? A bunch of those kind of things in the lab. We're also seeing use of Gen AI in all the processes which I spoke about, right? Now, in the processes which I spoke about where this drug is actually going to impact human life and be taken by patients, industry is always going to take a slightly more graded approach, right? And play it safe. Will it have an impact? Of course it will. In fact, as Indegene, what we are seeing is our vision over here is that we should be able to bring down the sales and marketing cost, right, while delivering better customer experience. We want to reduce the time and cost, cycle times for compliance for our clients, which is huge overhead for them, right? We want to shrink the cycle times and costs required for clinical trials, and hence a drug can be brought up to patient much faster and more effectively, right? Those are the endpoints we are defining for ourselves, and we believe Gen AI is going to make a big impact in helping us and, of course, the industry hit those kind of metrics.
I know you. I mean, I know your team is at the center of sort of making sure that Gen AI is able to impact a lot of solutions which your team is building. So that's great. Do you see questions in the mind of customers, or I think are they all in right now? I mean, what is in their mind? Now, this is your view from a provider point of view, but what are customers telling you?
Yeah. Interestingly, we've actually, with our customers, formed a Gen AI council, right? And we get our customers to talk together, learn from each other, right? And of course, we bring people like you, right, onto these forums for our customers also to learn from, right, directly from the horse's mouth. And so we've been doing that exercise. Clearly, customers are in, right? Now we are seeing roles like chief AI officers being created in a very new development, right? But that shows the seriousness. We see customers now talking about building models, right? Adopting AI in those processes. So it is for real for our customers, right? When it got launched, there was some bit of a trepidation, there was some bit of fear, but I think customers have understood that this is for real and everybody is implementing it. What is on their mind? It's still risk, right? And they want to be very, very circumspect and making sure they're doing the right thing. And again, that's what we as Indegene are super excited about. Because while we bring the technology, the risk mitigation is what we provide through our domain expertise, right? Human in the loop, right? And experts, right? Is what we bring. But customers definitely are using it, but are worried about the risk aspects and trying to mitigate all the risk.
Awesome. So what I hear is that they are long-term invested.
Yeah.
They believe in this. They're trying to integrate it as a part of their business. And tech companies or domain companies like yourself are partnering with them to move their agenda forward.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Great. In a world which is constantly evolving, and you saw how fast can this tech space move. how do you keep investing in building this foundation, always remaining topical, making sure that you're always upskilling, building those muscles as a CEO, for
Sure.
example?
Yeah.
What's your guidance to your team?
Sure. So again, I'll keep on going back to the DNA, right? The DNA of the firm is looking at what's changing, right? I still remember early days we were working on things like Palm Pilot. Do you remember those devices, right? They were very popular in healthcare. Wireless access protocol, right? So we were clearly 10 years ahead of where the industry was. Over time, of course, these technologies changed, internet came, digital happened. And we bet the entire company on digital, right? And that's the reason we are here today. We at one level are betting the entire company and our direction on AI now, right? The way we are doing this at is multiple levels. I'll do ground up, right? First of all, we are saying every Indegene needs to be trained on and comfortable in Gen AI, and they're going to be using Gen AI in some way or the other, right? So entire workforce of 5,000 people is being trained, right? We're starting over there, and we're demanding that we're going to see some use, right? As an organization, Gen AI at work is a initiative at Indegene. The other next level is that we are double down our investments in tools, platform, accelerators. You spoke about using Gen AI for a lot of our internal processes, right? And those internal processes could be our customer projects, but also how we do things internally, right? Our HR, finance, legal, everywhere, right? We are deploying this. I know your team has been in touch with our CTO organization, right, which is focused more on creating applications for our customers, right? There again, all our offerings are using Gen AI, right? We are attending conferences, we are talking to external people, again, people like you, right? And organizations like you. This is something we also had where we have oversight at a board level, right? We have some of our board members who understand technology, are technology investors, veterans. We have somebody from the Valley, right, on our board, and we get them to question us, right? That's the level of importance we are giving this.
So very well-rounded approach, I may say. And in fact, you did talk about the diversity and the depth of the capabilities which you build both on tech and on the industry domain side, which is great. We take immense pride in Indegene being a customer and a partner, Manish. Want to hear about, hear from you, what are your views? How do you see this partnership from a long term and from a very strategic perspective? How do you see we are placed today?
So, I mean, that's first of all, thank you for the partnership, right? It's been absolutely wonderful. We value the partnership. As Indegene, I would say, generally, we take long-term views, right, on partnerships, and we understand in the tech ecosystem, you just have to have deep partnerships and relationships. AWS has been a partner on multiple levels, right? Our core applications, internal applications, right? A lot of the customer-facing solutions have been built on AWS, right? We have also been users of Bedrock, one of the, I would say, few early users at a beta phase itself, right? And you might have enabled some of that earlier on as we are deploying this with some of our customers. As right now, we know we are working with your life science teams, right? As we are thinking through and improvising our customer-facing solutions. As we are thinking through our agentic approach, right, which we're going to be launching in a very significant way soon. Again, we are engaged with your life science teams and specialists for a deeper partnership, right? So I would say we are engaged at multiple levels, and we see a bright future with you guys. Thank you for everything.
And this is, as I said, it's a very prized, very valued partnership from our point of view. Thank you so much. With this, I come to the end of our conversation, but wish you all the best.
Thank
I know
you so much.
you're making India proud. You're making all of us proud by doing the cutting edge work.
Thank you.
Not many companies work at the intersection at which you are operating. and bring in all the right elements to drive success the way Indegene is doing it. So wish you all the best for your future and for your long-term future as well.
Thank you so much, Amit.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
AWS Presents Tech Pioneers in association with CNBC-TV18.com.